ABC Kinderteach presents The Boats on the River, written by Marjorie Flack, illustrated by J. Hyde Barnum. The river comes down from the mountains. Down comes the river to the sea. There are boats on the river. There is a ferry boat on the river, back and forth across the river, comes and goes, the ferry boat. There is a river boat on the river, a paddle wheel river boat. Up to the mountains, down to the sea goes the river boat. Up and down, up and down, up and down the river goes the river boat. There is an ocean liner on the river, an enormous ocean liner bringing merchandise and people and animals and letters from the world across the ocean, from Europe that is far across the sea. There is a tugboat on the river, a busy tugboat on the river, busy, 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 shoving, pushing, pulling, tugging, helping all the day. The tugboat helps the ocean liner, and the tugboat pulls the barges full of coal to heat the houses in the city near the sea. There is a motorboat on the river. Quickly and swiftly hums the motor of the motorboat, speeding it over the river. There is a sailboat on the river, and the sailboat has no motor to make it go. But the wind blows in the white sail, and the sailboat moves along, sails over the water. This way and that way goes the sailboat with the wind. There is a rowboat on the river, a tiny little rowboat, and the rowboat has no motor. The rowboat has no sail. A man with oars makes the rowboat move, rowing and rowing wherever he goes on the river. There is a freight boat on the river. The freight boat came from Cuba, came over the sea from Cuba. The freight boat brings bananas to the children of the city on the river near the sea. There's a submarine on the river. The submarine came up to float upon the river, came up from underneath the sea to the top of the water from underneath the sea. There is a warship on the river, a great American warship. There are sailors on the warship. The sailors come to visit in the city near the sea. The sailors go up the streets and down the streets and visit people's houses. The sailors go in the stores and in the zoo and visit through the city on the river near the sea. Do the boats come to visit in the city? Do the boats go up the streets and down the streets and visit people's houses? Do the boats go in the stores, in the zoo, and visit through the city on the river near the sea? No, the boats stay on the river. The boats stay on the river by the city near the sea. When the fog comes in from the sea, all is gray in the city, all is gray on the river, back and forth and up and down the boats on the river in the fog. Woo! Called the big boat. Hoo! 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 Calls the tugboat. Toot! Calls the smaller boats, calling each other every minute in the fog. Toot! 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 Shouts the sailboat. I am sailing, sailing before the wind. Get out of my way, get out of my way. And all the big boats get out of her way because the sailboat has no motor to make her go. But the tiny little red boat cannot call or toot or whistle, so it hurries home to shore, home away from all the boats on the river in the fog. And when the night comes, it is dark over the sea, dark over the city, dark on the river. On each boat on the river are lights shining bright. A red light on the left, a green light on the right, and a white light riding high. There are lights on the ferry boat, and on the river boat, and on the tugboat, and on the ocean liner, and on the sailboat and motorboat, and on the submarine. There are lights on the freight boat and on the warship. There are lights on all the boats on the river. The river that comes from the mountains comes down by the city to the sea.